What's up, movie lovers? I'm Mike, and this is Gotta Love Them Movies live on YouTube. Oh, you guys, I can hear the playback in my headphones at the same time that we're recording. So this is the most annoying thing. Welcome to YouTube. I don't know what to do. We're live. Oh, geez, Louise.
It's going great. It's going great.
Oh, what's happening? Okay. Thanks, Natalie. Happy St. Patrick's Day. Guys, I'm freaking out. I don't know how to fix this. This is the worst. Welcome to Gotta Love Them Movies. Hold on, I have to take my headphones off. You guys, this is a place for us to congregate, and as soon as I get this audio thing figured out, why? Oh, this is just the worst, you guys. This is just the worst. Anyway, you know what? Let's just introduce Natalie. Natalie.
Hi. Hello. I can only imagine that my voice right now is like this massive sound. It's in your soul. It's in your ears.
Oh.
It's in your body.
Natalie, I can't even concentrate on what it is that you're saying because I hear the live you speaking, and then I hear the 15 seconds later version of you speaking. So,
Sure, my boyfriend always says the same thing. So, yeah. Boyfriend, husband, you know, one of those.
Oh, man.
Well.
This you guys, I don't know how I can move forward with this show. Is anybody else... let's see, Crip in the live chat. Crip, can you hear two audio streams or is it just me?
Ooh.
Oh, this is the worst. This is the most unprofessional thing to do right now. Today.
It's not. Oh, what if you mute your tab?
How do I mute the tab? Okay, so Crip says that it's just me.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Reload, duplicate, pin, mute site?
Yes. Does that help? Do you just hear you? Yeah? Or do you hear anything?
I think...
There's so much here. Yeah.
No, I'm
just gonna keep rolling.
No,
We're rolling with the
still hearing
punches,
myself.
everybody.
Oh man, you guys, here's the thing, you guys. My apologies. So this show, I gotta take my headphones off. So this show had been streaming on Facebook for 6-8 months, something like that. Today, I wanted to make the big launch to YouTube. We're going to do the live show on YouTube. It's going to be this whole big revolutionary thing. And now, everything has completely fallen apart because I have two versions of me coming through my headphones, and this is completely terrible. Just so everybody knows, Natalie Kaz... you are a film director, you're a film producer, you're a cosplayer. We've known each other for quite some time. While I try to figure this out, why don't you just self-promote yourself? Where can people find you online? What projects do you have coming up? Tell us what makes you qualified to talk all things movies and television shows. And I'm going to try and fix this on my end.
Sure. Now, absolutely, I am not qualified in any way to do anything. So I just want to get the point across right now. Yeah, Mike is right. I love coming on the show on Wednesday. I myself am a film director, a film producer, and film editor. So I have been around the track a couple of times, and I tend to look at things from a more technical point of view. Right now I'm super excited because I have in the San Diego area, where I am right now. I know Mike's in New York, but I'm in San Diego. We're doing this bi-coastal thing. So maybe that's what you could hear in your headphones, Mike. It's the ghost of you in Pacific time, just talking back. No, that's a terrible idea. Yeah, so I've got a comedy project going on, a film sketch show. We call it Video Fasties. So it's short, 1 minute or less video sketches, comedy sketches, like in the Saturday Night Live vein. And it is a collaborative project. I'm actually excited that I have the opportunity to talk to you guys about it because I love working with people coast to coast. I love collaborating and writing and executing. So if you have a great idea that you want to talk to me about, I definitely encourage you to follow me on Instagram. It's at Video Fasties. And or you can message me directly. It's at comic_Connie because somebody named Connie stole my Instagram handle. That's okay. Coming for you, Connie. Anyway. So yeah, then in the film world, in the comedy world, I'm very excited about today's news, especially when it comes to the Oscar nominations. That is something we were going to talk about today. I don't know if anybody else knows about it, but I am quite the technical nerd. I don't know if anybody else out there just kind of watches the Oscars, but you're one of those people that gives too many notes, that knows a little bit too much about what a cinematographer is, what the difference between editing and sound design, all of those things. I really love getting into the nitty-gritty, and I kind of wish there was more of that kind of stuff that was in the nominations that you could watch. I don't know. If anybody out there knows if they ever do a live stream of the technical Oscars, I know it's something that they, put on the side, but I, for one, would be super excited to see the technical Oscars and figure out what's going on there. I'm going to check that. Yeah. Yep. Crip. One topic I would like to talk about is the new hashtag Restore the Snyderverse. Interesting. Restore the Snyderverse. That's not on our list of topics today, but I actually do want to talk about that. Yeah, so everyone knows the Snyder Cut is upon us. I have heard literally about 1,000 stories. Crip, tell me a little bit about Restore the Snyderverse because I haven't heard about that. Is it that it's a low? Okay, so I got it. Screen Rant has an article about this trends as fans campaign for Zack Snyder to finish his DCEU plan. Wow, that's a long shot. So this article by Daniel Gillespie, apparently this has been trending for a while, but people want to see Zack Snyder's version of the DCEU come to life. I, for one, am a little bit interested in that. I had an interesting conversation with a friend of mine who's a huge fan of the original Superman with Christopher Reeve. Awesome show, or awesome movie, of course. But I also talked about maybe doing a comparison to Man of Steel because they are two different artistic forms altogether. They are night and day. They're not the same, and I don't think they're meant to be the same. And I sometimes wonder if people tend to hold those two movies a little too close. Zack Snyder, we know, is not the greatest storyteller. I mean, Mike and I have talked about this ad nauseum on the podcast. This is it's a common thing for me to discuss with friends, but I do think that he does have a vision for stuff, and it is valid to kind of see that artist portrayal painted. And I also feel like fans tend to put a lot of heat on Zack Snyder films because it's not the paintbrushes that they would use. It's not the color scheme that they would use. Other than the fact that, you know, his films have been weak in the past. I think, you know, if you go back to, what was it, Sucker Punch. Beautiful movie, wonderful visuals, but there was a really hodgepodge story about it. So, and that, to be honest with you, is Zack Snyder's most original idea, right? I mean, his other films, 300, you know, Batman v Superman, Watchmen, they're all adaptations. I actually think that the intro of Watchmen is probably the best little part of any movie that he's created, that opening montage scene. But yeah, I don't think that the Snyderverse or the Snyder vision of the universe is completely worth scrapping. I appreciate that. I'm gonna need some coffee right here. Didn't have my coffee. Excuse me. I appreciate that moving forward, people have kind of, it feels like these directors are pulling enough from the Snyderverse, from the groundwork that has been laid. But I don't necessarily think Warner Brothers is in a position, entire thing back to Zack Snyder rather's original vision. However, I think that they are somewhat done, maybe, with trying to match the MCU step for step in their version of the way they introduce their comic book characters in media. I mean, that's something that we know doesn't work for DC. It's just, for whatever reason, timing, ideas, poor execution, not the right people in the right roles, going to work for them. So that, I think I would be in exact fact that he never really got to finish the whole thing. This was obviously handed to him like he's George R.R. Martin writing a trilogy, and he got cut off after book 2, in my opinion. So I think it's worth kind of reviewing that. One director doesn't need to be in charge of an entire film series. But yeah, I think his technique and his point of view, his creative mindset is kind of interesting. I think it's interesting to explore, especially like in the DC verse right now. You know, for a long time there have been more popular pieces of media like Arkham Asylum and you know, Injustice. Those games are, if you think critically and from story points of view, they're freaking dark. They're right up there with what you would think Zack Snyder would be, or it reads like a Zack Snyder movie, right? So there's definitely a place for that, but it needs to be a little bit of the audience understanding that it's not all things to all people. You know, Chris no longer with us, but doesn't mean that we can't have something a little different. Yeah. Wonder what you guys think about that. Is anybody, how you guys kind of feel about restoring the Snyder Cut, the Snyderverse? How do you guys, are you guys interested in watching the Snyder Cut of Justice League? I know that Crip is mentioning there's a lot of content that don't have a plan yet for seeing Justice League since it's being released on HBO Max. That being, I do feel like HBO is going to come up with something. I think it's just like the ink has not dried on the contract and they don't have something yet. And it might actually release in the United States first because we're coming upon it, right? When is I know it's sometime this month for sure. So we are coming upon it, and I feel like something will happen, if not the week of release in the United States, but very soon. So yeah, let me look at some more questions that we have. And thank you guys very much for bearing with us while we have these technical difficulties. I know everyone tuned in to see Mike Brown talk about movies. And what you didn't realize is you were going to get a good helping slice of Natalie Kaz this morning. No one really expects the Natalie Kaz Inquisition or the podcast that randomly pops up. So I think if it's worth it, we should maybe get into a little bit of movie news. Sound good? Sound good to you guys at home? Yeah. Let's talk about some of the things we were going to talk about today. And Mike, I know you can still hear me, so you will drive. Let's stay on the Justice League train. Collider. Yeah, so or we can talk about this. We can talk about Reubens. So there's a documentary right now, or there is a documentary film series being produced about Paul Reubens. And as you guys know, he played very famously Pee-wee Herman on Pee-wee's Playhouse, and also there was a Why is the Director Tim Burton movie of the same. So I think that's crazy. So according to Collider, Spaceship Earth helmer Matt Wolf will direct the two-part film, which will hopefully address the artist's criminal past. This surprises me. This is extremely surprising to me, for one. Everyone bear with me. I'm getting a little bit of feedback. So I will remove my headphones. So yeah, for me, I'm pretty surprised that they're deciding to do this. This is really coming out of left field. The article goes on to explain Reubens is, of course, best known for creating the character Pee-wee Herman, an iconic role that brought him fame and fortune. The film is being described as a kaleidoscopic, there's a word for the morning, portrait that traces the life of the imaginative art and one of pop culture and unlikely icons. And of course, reference up front, but this article and the writer Jeff Snyder is really hoping, I think, for them to make reference for his Reubens' 1991 arrest for indecent exposure and the 2002 charges brought against him for possession of child pornography. Although it's safe to assume HBO will, quote, go there, as it'd be completely irresponsible to ignore those incidents. You know, Paul Reubens is one of those icons in pop culture that just like, it's an interesting enigma. I think a lot of people want to compare him to the much later version is portrayed as right now in media, and you know, I'll leave it at that. But I think this is an interesting thing. I feel like Paul Reubens is a bit, and Pee-wee's Great Adventure, Pee-wee's Playhouse, I think those movies are 80s kids and 90s kids and not necessarily, you know, a more recent audience. So I think it's an interesting thing to tackle. I'm excited to see this. It looks like, I mentioned before, director's Matt Wolf. Emma Tillinger from The Irishman will produce, and as well as their former partners that worked on Uncut Gems, partner Sebastian Bear McClard. So, the exception of Irishman, which is a bit anything to do with the producing side of that. This, I don't know. Like it kind of makes me a little dark Pee Wee Herman, but and kind of shining some light on that. But you guys think about it. So excited to see a Pee Wee Herman movie or a documentary. Is think do you feel like we should dive into dark territory here and rid of someone's life? So usually the most interesting ones are the ones that are the. But I want to know what you guys think. Please leave in the comments. Please take a gander and let us know. Let me see what next. So Snyder cut tomorrow. Let's go back to the Snyder time. There was some interesting article that also came out in Collider, I believe. All right, so Tom Holkenberg on throwing out his original Justice League score for the Snyder Cut. You guys, I am a giant movie score nerd, and so is Mike, and this is one of the few things that, well, not the few things, but this is one of the few things unique to he and I nerding out about is talking about music scores. And I don't know, I've always been of the theory that the audience responds to what they see, but they feel what they hear. So in my opinion, sound design, which is something that usually doesn't get thought of very often except in the technical sense, you know it when it's missing, and also score is just so important. So this article from Collider goes on to say the composer also talks about reuniting with George Miller. Filmmaker Zack Snyder was in production on Justice League when Warner Brothers suddenly declared they wanted to lighten the tone, and the studio began taking a heavier hand in the shaping of the superhero team-up. But fan demand for the Snyder Cut didn't extend to only Snyder's version of the film. It also extended to Tom Holkenberg's original score. After Snyder left Justice League, Holkenberg, aka XL, was also replaced as the composer, and his music for the superhero blockbuster didn't see the light of day. He's originally composed those scores that have come out with Zack Snyder's films, so they go hand in hand. Everybody remembers the score that Brian Tyler put together for 300, and that being so iconic, and that style, that thing that comes forward, that introduction to Zack Snyder's filmmaking in general. And Junkie XL, he's worked on a ton of other things. Notably, it was, I think, the last big movie that
Hey, Natalie. I fixed it! So what are we... We're now, what, like, we're 23 minutes into the show. No! Hold on. I fixed your portion. I've yet to fix my portion. Like, I'm hearing myself and... this is so frustrating. All right. I have to take my headphones off because I keep hearing my own playback. Junkie XL score. So I know Junkie XL did one of my favorite scores that he did was to a very controversial film. Whoa, my seat goes down. Was to a very controversial. I know. Today is the today is the day that everything goes wrong. So last week, because like my seat also goes back, and I forgot to lock it when I was in this position the other day, and so I leaned back, and all of my Avengers came raining down on top of me. Yeah, so that's a whole other thing. Yeah, today's a garbage show, you guys. Oh no. So just to show you how much of a garbage show today is, where are we? Crip just types in. He says there is no audio. He cannot hear you, Natalie. What is happening with the world today? What is happening with the world today? To answer your question, Natalie, what do I think of Junkie XL as a composer? I love Junkie XL. He does some really great stuff. One of my favorite scores he collaborated with Hans Zimmer on, which is The Amazing Spider-Man 2. I loved it. I loved The Amazing Spider-Man 2. Like, I like it as a movie. I understand where fans are like, no, that's a terrible film. I actually kind of like it. But the score is, like, I thought was genius. But I think because so many people hate that movie so much, they also have decided that they hate the score too. And like, I don't know. I don't get it. And now that everybody can hear me, but no, what are you saying? This is Skynet. Okay, it's funny you say that. So Crip, I don't know if you know this, Crip, or if anybody else is watching. I don't know if anybody else knows this. My day job, I work as a flight attendant. So 2 days ago, I had to work a flight. I'm not going to tell you what airline I work for, but I had to work a flight from New York City down to Mexico City. And we get there, and I think it was before we left. Yeah, because I was the one on the announcements. I was making all the PAs and everything. I meet the pilots for the first time. The captain's name was John, and the FO's name, Natalie, can you guess what it is? Can you guess what the FO's name was? Connor! John Connor! Yeah. Yeah, so John and Connor were flying the plane, and funny you say this is Skynet, because the system that the flight attendant company uses to like communicate with you, like our intranet, not the internet, but the intranet, is called Skynet. I kid you not. It's legit. Why would they do that? I mean, it's because nobody's familiar with Terminator. That's why nobody's familiar with Terminator. This is how they win. This is how they beat us. Yeah, essentially, yes. Okay. You know what? Today's a ridiculous show. How did I mute Natalie? Oh man, what is? Oh, I turned off your track one. All right, hold on.
Maybe that's it.
Let me turn off all these other tracks except for our track ones.
Ooh. Crip, we need you, buddy.
All right, Crip, you got to help us out, man.
Crip is like co-producer on today's
right?
show.
All the way from the UK. Crip, you're helping us, buddy. So I can still hear myself on playback.
Mm-hmm.
Natalie, I no longer hear you on playback.
Oh, but I was being somewhat quiet, and I wonder if now you can hear me.
He says, wait.
How about...
Okay, so he can hear you now.
I was going to say, my next message was, Crip is co-producer. Special thank you. Here we go. You are now in the credits. You can add that to your IMDb, Crip.
No, Natalie, now I hear you on playback again.
Oh man, you know what? I think that we're gonna need to do a little bit more troubleshooting, but
Oh wait,
I
active
do
sources
really want to
only.
get to the last piece. Man, Crip and audience members, thank you guys for helping us through today's show. But that's what the magic of movie making is, or podcast making. This is live. You are a part of this interactive experience where you get to watch two people flail aimless to figure out how technical this YouTube thing. Yeah, as you guys, we mentioned before at the top of the show, you guys that are tuning in, this is actually our first leap YouTube. I'm super glad that I was a part of it. Normally we have been screencasting this live on then YouTube later, but this is, I wonder if this ever happens to PewDiePie. Not sure. But, you know, let me go ahead and swing to the last bit of movie news that we have today, and it's the Oscar noms. Guys, as you know, they nominations, or they did this Monday, 3rd place in 2 places this year. It's going to also, they're going to hold most of the station. It's got a huge outdoor. Interesting. I can see how, you know, I've been pretty impressed for the most part with how the Oscars have, or I'm sorry, how award shows in general have kind of migrated to this kind of new post-COVID thing. The big highlights. Best Picture, we have a pretty interesting lineup. We have The Father, which is Anthony Hopkins and Olivia Colman's latest, Judas and the Black Messiah, which Mike got to see here recently. Mank, which was produced for Netflix. Minari, which I've heard about. Just awesome. And if you guys were following the Golden Globes, the Hollywood Foreign Press Association was in a little bit of heat for a couple things. One of them is not having a single Black member on the Hollywood Foreign Press Association's board. It's like 100 different people, but nobody's Black. And the other is Minari won an award, but it won an award in the foreign language category, which is a little bit unusual and raised some eyebrows considering, like, well, why wasn't Minari with others? And it's like, and there is a specific amount of English dialogue that needs to be, you know, like a ratio for it to qualify in the foreign language versus the regular drama. But the director, Tarantino, and Glorious German in that movie in the drama category, so it didn't have to be sidelined to the foreign film. But on the Best Picture list, No Man Land, Frances McDormand, Promising Young Woman, Sound of Metal, which I've incredible things about. That is also nominated. And finally, The Trial of the Chicago 7, Netflix's biopics. So to me, I feel like this Best Picture category is a pretty solid lineup. You know, some of the other highlights, we have Riz Ahmed in Sound of Metal, Chadwick Boseman and Ma Rainey's Black Bottom, Anthony for the three films that are and Minari have crossed paths several times. He is he's a good friend of a good friend, and he's within the San Diego Film Commission. He was the person actually on Facebook telling us about Mank as it was being filmed. And I'm super stoked for him. This is awesome. What an incredible achievement. And I've heard nothing but good things about Mank. Actress in a leading role. This is another role in which we have a pretty diverse playing field. We have Viola Davis in Ma Rainey's Black Bottom, Andrea Day in the United States versus Billie Holiday, Frances McDormand, Carey Mulligan. I think that what we're looking at is definitely a more diverse Oscar set. You know, as you guys know, they kind of changed the rules last year about who could be nominated. The one thing is all of these movies listed, I really, really am interested in them. I've heard really, really good things. I feel like in previous Oscars, maybe not so much, but what do you guys think? What do you guys think is going to happen when the Oscars airs? Who do you guys think is going to be nominated? Best Picture, Best Actor? Take a look at the noms and let us know in the comments how you guys feel. And, you know, this has been a show, guys. This has been a show. And Mike, I know you're still with us.
Yeah. This is...
You should take it out.
This is so weird because I'm having a hard time figuring out what to respond to, because I can hear what you're currently saying, and then I hear what you were saying 5 seconds ago playing simultaneously, and it's throwing me off. And I'm like, what do I pay attention to? How do I listen to this? You guys, I can't apologize enough for what Crip just said. I was kind of hoping for King of Staten Island, NGL. I don't know, what does NGL stand for?
Not gonna
lie. Got it.
Hey, that's a Crip. That was a great film. Yeah, I don't know. There are a lot of snubs here. Tom Hanks not on the list anywhere. Who are the other? I feel like some of these other movies should have been nominated, but this was such a weird year for movies. Let us know, who else do you think got snubbed this year? And are you going to watch the Oscars? I just kind of want to... If you're watching this, you probably want to watch for just the technical difficulties, honestly. I'm crapping on the Golden Globes. Here I am making fun of the Golden Globes for technical difficulties, and it's harder than it looks, guys. It's harder than it looks. So, once again, I'm going to apologize for on behalf of Mike and also on behalf of myself. And I hope that it was an interesting show. We will do better. I promise you. We're going to release the Mike Brown cut of this episode. And it's going to be amazing.
Mike Brown cut.
Let's get that trending. Hashtag release the Mike Brown cut.
Man.
Okay, guys. That's all we have for movie news today. That's all we have for antics and flailing. Mike, tell us what we can do. Mike's catching up.
Now I'm hearing myself laugh from like 60 seconds ago. I think you just... All right, so we're done. I think we're done. I'm just going to call it. I have no idea what's going on. Natalie, I have no idea what you just said. Maybe I should just listen. Hold on. Maybe if I turn up the volume on this.
A more diverse Oscar set. You know, as you guys know, they kind of changed the rules last year about who could be.
Nope, that doesn't help me at all either.
respond.
Crippy says, I'm no longer watching the Golden Globes because I love Ricky Gervais. I adore Ricky Gervais. I think that's a great place to end, you guys. I am, again, this is the worst show, maybe the best and the worst show we've ever done. I didn't even get around to pointing out my St. Patty's Day hat. It turns out I have no green attire in my entire wardrobe. So
I went so green. I was totally green today in my green, and yeah, Boba Fett. So
perfect, absolutely perfect. Yeah, so I'm just gonna end this by saying, if you like this video, click like. You should not like this video. If you click subscribe because we need it. And also don't forget to click share. Click share. If you guys have a question, I'm just going to take my headphones off because I'm hearing things and I can't tell if Natalie's talking to me live or from like 3 minutes ago. Anyway, guys, if you have a question, if there's anything that you need clarification on, if you're like Crip and you're like, hey, I want to talk about, was it hashtag release the Snyderverse? Is that what the hashtag was? Restore the Snyderverse. Hashtag if there's anything you guys want to talk about, send me an email at gottalovethemmovies@gmail.com.
Release the Mike Brown
Natalie, I'm just going to throw it over to you real quick. If there's, where can people find you online and what projects do you have coming up?
Hey, you can find me here every Wednesday doing this show. Actually, next week I think I'll be here Thursday. So that's what I have coming up. And I'm just going to leave it with release the Mike Brown.
All right, you guys. That will do it for us today. We live in a weird, crazy world where everybody has their own thoughts and opinions, and sometimes those thoughts and opinions clash. So please speak kind words to each other. Please respect each other. And in the words of Bill and Ted, be excellent to each other. The live version of the show, we're going to do another live version tomorrow. Hopefully we'll get all of these bugs figured out. But Natalie is our Wednesday regular. Natalie, thank you so much for carrying the show today as I tried furiously to try and figure out what the problems were. Crip, thank you so much for your comments. Thanks for giving us continually things to talk about, even though the entire show just completely fell apart today. Yeah, live show tomorrow, live show every Wednesday from here on out. So stay tuned to that. You guys, I'll see you tomorrow. This whole thing is crazy. I'll see you tomorrow.